2015.
Well, first of all, I just want to say, like, if you're following Andrew Tate's like philosophy in life, you're just a virgin. Like, that's just what you are. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Weekly Daily Show. Welcome back because this sequel has been a long time coming, you know? Yeah. To give you guys some background, back 2016, maybe even 2015, me and my good friend here.
2015?
Was it? I don't know. Whatever year it was.
2017.
I thought it was like 7th grade.
No, it was 8th grade.
Whatever. But we had a show, Weekly Daily Show, where we talked about news. And, you know, unfortunately, it kind of just died off for whatever reason or another. I thought there were multiple episodes, but there was not. But then we gave it a break. But I don't know how many years later. I don't know how many years later we decided to come back and talk about some news, you know? And we're back at it. I'm your host, Jack Walter, and I'm here with my co-host, Matt Chiv.
How you doing today, Jack? How's it going?
I'm doing good because it's the joyous day, the return of the Weekly Daily Show, and the birth
of a new channel. And this has been something that we've been wanting to do for a long time. You know, there's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears behind the scenes. You know, just building this table alone was it's hard enough. Whole day.
It was just a day activity, you know. But we're finally here, and thank you to our interns over there. You guys are the best. They are not getting paid at all, but if they put us on a resume, then we will. Thank you. If they put us on a resume, we will definitely give them a reference and tell them how good workers they were. So
yeah, some work.
So, Matt, how are you doing today? You know,
I'm doing well. I'm excited to start the new show. You know, we've been planning it for a long time. You know, kind of actually almost a year at this point.
For real, I mean, it's like I said, blood, sweat, and tears. You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. Yeah, is my point. And you know, I'm gonna ask Chiv right now, what could people expect from this channel? You know, the birth of our new channel.
Our goal really is to have just a variety of shows, you know, that could just apply to a wide audience. You know, the tagline of HARBON was always the stuff you don't care about, because it's just supposed to be for just
fun.
Yeah, pretty much. Just people in you know, specific niches and things like that, except for this show. The show works a little bit differently than that. The show is actually for everybody. It's just a general, you know, news on what's going on in the internet and just the world in general. You know, just a couple light topics. You know, Jack and I used to have a podcast with our friend Danny, and we kind of did a similar thing, but this is going to be a little bit more short form, a little bit more proper, you know. So that's kind of like the goal that we're going for.
Yeah, and I'm excited because I also want to talk about a lot of the shows, because it's not just this show. There's a lot of shows. Should we reveal a few of these shows? We have
definitely yours, I think, because yours has been going pretty well.
Of course. So I have a show. I interview MMA fighters, boxers, coaches, whatever, you know, fans, and you know, we talk MMA, you know, and I have a channel for it separate in the description, but also interviews are going to be posted here on Mondays, right after the fights, and yeah, so I'm excited for that show. Of course, Tuesdays, this will be the HARBON News Show, if you will.
The
Weekly Daily Show. And that'll be here. And on Wednesdays, are you ready to reveal this Wednesday? I'm ready to reveal it. You know, our good friend, Danny, up in the corner. Dan, shout out to you. He has his own show on the channel based on movies. Dan, you want to come over here and tell us a few of the what this show is going to be about?
Yeah, let me just get out of this chair.
The Return of the Black Spider podcast.
We're united with the gents.
What's going on, Dan?
Glad to be on the show.
Yeah, nobody's watching our framing.
Oh. Let's pray.
Let's keep it
so
brief.
Let's keep it. I was gonna say keep it brief.
Basically, you know, I don't want to quite reveal too much, but you know, it's gonna be a deep dive and evaluation of whatever movie or TV show I watched that week.
All right.
Short and simple, about 10 minutes.
Great. All right, good. We like it. We stand that. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you.
And that'll be out on Wednesdays. Be out tomorrow. If this kid is not a fucking lazy shit.
Most likely not.
Hey, I mean, he's got a fucking fuck ton of days. How long does it take? You're gonna film it by Wednesday, right?
I'll try.
What do you mean try? What do you do?
What do you do?
You do nothing all day.
No, he doesn't.
You can go home and fucking film this. It's ridiculous. It takes 10 minutes out of your fucking day.
All right.
Sorry, the boss is coming out.
All right, Manager Jack. Let's slow down.
But on Thursdays, oh man.
Thursdays we have a real treat.
Thursdays, shout out to my man over there. He's gonna be hosting it. I don't want to reveal too much, but honestly, I think this might be the most successful show on the platform.
I agree
100%. I think this one has a lot of potential. We're really excited. We don't want to say too much. Honestly, I kind of want it to just be a surprise, when the episode comes out. But just, an upcoming Thursday, subscribe, stay tuned because this is gonna be a great show.
Definitely not probably this Thursday.
Definitely not this Thursday. But
maybe next Thursday.
In the upcoming weeks.
Let's.
In the upcoming weeks, we hope to have a show there.
Here's the hint, we have to find a specific filming location, very specific for this adventure. Endeavor, that's the word that I was looking for. And Fridays, the show hosted by my good man over here. Take it off.
I'm not 100% sure yet. That's another one that's a little bit more in the works.
Okay.
I have a couple ideas, but I don't want to say.
Probably not Friday then.
Yeah, no, not this Friday. Definitely not this Friday.
But I'm expecting Dan. That doesn't give you a pass.
Yeah. So for the time being, we'll have 3 shows a week, and then hopefully we'll expand into 5 very soon. Hopefully by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, you want to start getting into these topics? We don't have that much to talk about. You would think we actually have a lot to talk about because we've never done one before, so we have a lot to cover. But no, we don't. We don't have that much. We're trying to keep it a little bit more recent. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is the links.
The links have been good.
How have the links been treating you recently?
Guys, how have the links been?
They've been getting interesting.
I just wanted a cheer, but not a full review. But
well, anyway,
appreciate you guys.
Into more exciting news.
That's what people care about.
Yeah, it's the things that people actually want to listen to.
I wanted to talk about Halloween's coming up, scary things. Jeffrey Dahmer,
the show Monster.
Ate your heart out like Jeffrey Dahmer. Show came out on Netflix, and we actually watched it together.
Yeah.
And our good friend Don over there, who is also going to have a podcast of his own, Fit and Fat, featuring me. He's the Fit on the Fat in the works officially.
Officially announced.
But like I said, so what do you think? What did you think of the show? I watched it with you.
Yeah.
It seemed like in the beginning. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to assume, but it seemed like in the beginning, it seemed like that we enjoyed it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it all the way through. I will say that I definitely enjoyed it all the way through.
But it seemed like near the end it kind of.
But it definitely it took a turn for the worst in my opinion.
This was a very unpopular opinion.
Yeah, apparently.
Not a lot of people think
the 5th biggest launch in Netflix history. But my problem with it honestly was that I feel like the vision that it has, if you read the description or the Wikipedia article on the show and what the show actually was a little bit off. I know a big thing about the show is a lot of people said it's supposed to be from the victim's perspective, and in my opinion, you didn't get to that until episode 6, which was weird, or maybe a little bit less than maybe episode 4 or 5, but that's still an insane amount of time. The thing that threw me off, especially in the beginning, was it's not in chronological order whatsoever. It grew on me, but especially with that shift from the first to second episode to the third, the first, second to third episode was extremely weird.
It was, I did like, it started off, like you said, I did like that it started off, with the first episode with him getting caught. That I did
made sense, yeah.
The second episode, I remember thinking, what is going on? And then the third episode, the second and third episode, that jump was really my problem, but then once after that, then it started getting the chronological order and you can follow it. But
it wasn't, I don't think it was ever in chronological
order. Like I said to you, it's hard. If you were watching the show thinking, I don't know anything about Jeffrey Dahmer, let me go watch this, you're and you don't even know he's a killer, you're definitely going to be lost.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You'll figure it out. they do give a lot of details. It's even kind of really gory at parts, but it just to me at some points it felt all over the place, and then towards the end they just, after he got arrested, it was just it was just kind of like a mess. I understand trying to see the victims' reactions. Victims putting lightly, and that was a problem that I had, is that in my opinion it's just a little bit insensitive to say the victims talking about the people around him that were aware of what happened afterwards, like his neighbors, his dad, I feel like it's a little bit insensitive. Instead of focusing on the actual victims, like the people who lost their lives, they're just focusing on the people around them. I'm not saying that those people didn't have like hardships, obviously they did, like I'm not saying that they aren't victims in some respect, but I'm saying that, if you're gonna make a show focused on the victims of Jeffrey Dahmer, then you would make the show about the actual people that he killed. I personally, I don't see why they would focus, or why they would say it's told from the victim's perspective and then tell it from the people around some perspective, as opposed, that's a little bit misleading to me. Like if you say a show about Jeffrey Dahmer from the victim's perspective, you're thinking about the people he killed, not the people around it.
I get, of course, like you said, I get what they're trying to do, and the fact that it wasn't just I like one of the scenes. Obviously, I'm just going to spoil it. Obviously, first of all, this is a real thing. Most people know what happened. But secondly, this show's been out for a fucking century. But, what happened was, one of the scenes in terms, with the father that was good is when they're in the TV. They're watching the TV, the stepmom and the husband, when he gets arrested and they're, telling lies. It's, an anonymous friend, obviously, that's not an anonymous friend, but just pretending. And is oh, yeah, he used to say that his father, beat him, whatever. Mm-hmm. And his stepmom was a bitch and all that. I mean, that was probably the best part in that. But I agree, obviously, it is a little... I understand the insensitivity. It didn't really focus as much on the actual victims, like you said, than it did on the father. I feel like it mostly did the father, the neighbor. The neighbor. Which, first of all, the neighbor isn't even... I mean, the neighbor's a real person, but it's combined. She's a combined character.
Yeah, and she... I don't know if you saw, but I think it was her... Oh, no, it was either her or a journalist that worked on it that said a lot of things were made up.
Yeah.
I don't remember if it was the neighbor herself, the one who they took the name from. Or a reporter who, remember we watched the actual interview, and that reporter, that lady that was sitting in jail with him, she came out and I think said that there were some things that were inaccurate, and by some I mean a lot. And so it was just kind of it was well done. I don't agree with the racial bias for Jeffrey Dahmer. He said himself, he's it has nothing to do with hatred, race wise. He said there's no prejudice. I believe him. I don't think that it was, but I respect getting that angle, because it is a question. You could never know if he's lying or not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would believe him, because I feel like he put so many cards out on the table when he was doing his confessions, that why would he not just, if it was racially motivated, why he would just say it. I think definitely I would agree if people were to say that he fetishized people of color. I would agree with that. But it was just so I respect that angle. That didn't bother me as much as I've seen it bother other people. But I just didn't really see how they switched so much from this episode is strictly about following Jeffrey Dahmer and what he's doing, he's going to the bathhouses and then he's actually killing somebody, and they're focusing specifically on Jeffrey Dahmer, and then other episodes about somebody he actually killed, and then another episode's about his neighbor. That to me, you can say it's from the victim's perspective, but that to me are three very different point of views, and if you were going to artistically pick one, then that would make more sense. To me, it didn't make a lot of sense to kind of throw together these vignettes of Jeffrey Dahmer's life. That was kind of weird.
No, I agree. With like you said, and especially when you consider most of it really wasn't the victims. I mean, you had the guy that was deaf that took place. That I didn't mind that episode.
Yeah, that was good. I think it was two. I think it spanned over 2 episodes. That was good.
That one was a good one. I thought that one was definitely one of the highlight episodes. But I think also another thing about Netflix is I find I thought the last 2 episodes or so were just filler. It was
yes,
there is
the ending was extremely and it I'm not mistaken, the beginning of the last episode is when he died. So the end of the last episode was kind of just weird, right? I don't remember it too well, but it was just.
I mean, they even added a whole John Wayne Gacy subplot.
Yeah, that was also extremely
reason,
strange. Yeah, about the death penalty and John Wayne Gacy. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mind I just feel like yeah, like it should have been a lot shorter. 8 episodes, tighten it up. I think there was some fat in there that could have been cut. Like I didn't mind the show so much in terms of, like, the whole thing. Though the ending, like I said, I agree with you. Not I agree with you. I think I was the one that brought it up, but it was like I think it should have been a little bit tightened.
Yes,
you know?
for sure.
But speaking of mentally unhinged people,
okay.
Kanye.
Yeah,
What's
I
going
didn't
on?
watch the whole Drink Champs. I had to build this table, so I didn't really have the 3.5 hours to sit down and say it. But he has been on. He's been on quite the kick. He's been banned off of almost every social media. He actually posted a couple times on Facebook because it got that bad. Of course, I believe on Instagram.
Well, what is going on? Like, why is he getting banned?
So I think, the whole thing started as he felt unfair in his Adidas and Gap deals. And that just quickly kind of went downhill. He was attacking banks and just any major like corporate entity in the United States, and I don't remember exactly what he said at the time when he got kicked off of Instagram, but obviously it's very well known that off Twitter he made like insanely anti-Semitic remarks. He did. To quote, he said, "I'm gonna go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people." The Drink Champs episode was funny because it started with a disclaimer saying that the opinions are held only by the individuals who say it. They started the episode by saying that they completely separated themselves from wanting anything to do with what Kanye was saying, and he went in depth about it, and he was, again, like I said, making more anti-Semitic remarks where he was essentially saying that attack on Jewish people was because, like to paraphrase, that Jewish people own the corporations that he was attacking. They are like the managers, the bankers, whatever. So again, that's a huge stereotype against Jewish people, and he was just using that. It's kind of baseless in my opinion. And so he was saying that, and then of course it's been blowing up recently, ever since the episode came out, that he had some stuff to say about George Floyd. So he compared George Floyd to Virgil Abloh, who was a friend of Kanye's, designer for Louis Vuitton, that died this past year. And then he went on to say that George Floyd actually was killed by fentanyl, and that the cop's neck wasn't actually the cop's knee wasn't actually touching his neck, which was like a huge hit. There was a lot of people responding to that, saying how damaging that is for Kanye to say that to black communities, how damaging it is to black communities for Kanye to say that.
What do you think about this, like, White Lives Matter stuff?
I just, I have to agree with a lot of people who came out after that regardless of what his reasoning for saying that, like, it was the same thing when he wore the MAGA hat a couple years ago. No matter what his reasoning is, to put something like that on such a high platform, to be such a high profile, Kanye even said it in the interview. He is the richest black American in recorded history. And to sort of have a platform like that, and to do something like wear a White Lives Matter shirt is damaging, no matter what his intent actually was. And like I said, I never finished the Drink Champs episode. I don't know how deep he goes into it, but I don't think that he even really had a great reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't even think it was as balanced or as cut and dry as his reason for wearing the MAGA hat. He said he wore the MAGA hat because he didn't appreciate white Democrats saying that black people can't be Republican, which was a huge thing that Joe Biden had said something along those lines as well, and it was a big thing people are talking about a lot. And so I think it's similar to, like, I think that he thinks it's similar to that, but I don't think he has any real solid reason for having worn a White Lives Matter shirt, and I just think that it just is damaging, like I said, for someone with his platform.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it's just,
when you're as big as Kanye is, I mean, I don't know how many followers he has, but I'm sure he has.
I think it's like 18 million close to.
I would have thought it was more, but when you have so many followers, it's like you gotta be careful what you post, not to be like a square, but it is true. Like, you gotta be careful of what you post. And
yeah, definitely.
Because like me, I could post whatever the fuck I want because I got 300 followers here.
Yeah, I mean not for long. You won't be able to after we launch this show.
After the show launches, but I gotta still you gotta have a certain respect for yourself.
No, I've always said that. I've definitely said it to Jack before. When people were being canceled and you look at it, and a lot of people will say like when it's some people get canceled for things that they say, like it's not like actions that they do that are necessarily immoral, and the question always comes up, like if it's free speech, if you're against censorship, like how are you going to say that you can't say something or you're going to lose your platform because of it? And I've always said, like, when you have a platform, when people are watching, you have to be a little bit more careful, because you're free to say whatever you want, but you have to remember that there are people that are watching, and there are people who won't take the irony like you will. They won't take the satire like you will. They'll just take it a lot more seriously. And so you have to remember that when you have a platform, you are always in a position for somebody to get offended. When you say something.
That's just offensive. The sacrifice it is of being like a public figure. Is it's like
of course
you're open now to public.
Exactly.
For people,
you definitely you not only bring yourself more scrutiny, like you're now under a spotlight at all times, but you are definitely now just more you have to give up a little bit of things that you want to say, because it's just going to be so damaging. And it's interesting about Kanye because he says it all the time. He's like, can't cancel me, I invented cancel culture. And it's true. I mean, the guy has said crazy things throughout his entire career, and just he still has the platform to talk on.
Yeah, I mean,
and just but I this feels a little bit different. Off social media and all.
That's a whole other thing. Is it's like with the canceling, you see what even like Andrew Tate. I'm not a fan of him. I don't even like watch him for like memes or anything like that. Like I just don't. But not because not necessarily even because I don't support him.
All right, buddy,
just,
you're not.
I'm just saying I don't want
to.
I'm just saying, but
you're not a fan.
But
neither am I.
But no, I mean like not even just that I'm a fan. Like I literally just do not know. Like I literally know like probably 1%, like 0.01% of like anything he's ever put out.
Yeah.
Like I don't like. Obviously, all I know is that he's just like whatever. Like his part of his like character. He's like misogynistic. Obviously, to me, it seems like he's playing it up. I really don't think Andrew Tate is like that. But regardless, he's doing that. And the question really is like, does TikTok, Twitter, do they have the right to cancel whatever people like Kanye, Andrew Tate, a lot of these guys, because it is a public. I mean, it's a private platform. They privately used.
They have rules. Yeah,
they have rules, but or even Trump, when we talked about that on our previous podcast.
I was going to say we talked about this on the podcast, and it's interesting to see it happen so much more often. I think it's actually interesting that it happened to Andrew Tate before Kanye, because Andrew Tate is obviously way less known than Kanye West is, and and obviously both of them are way less known than Donald Trump is. And I feel like it was weird to see, like, now, like I said on the podcast, they flex that muscle. They show, the media at large show that they can silence somebody if they want to. And that was like a huge moment that they did, because it had never happened before. No. And then it's now happened 2 more times in maybe just over a year. Like,
it's just crazy.
Maybe closer to 2 years. But
I mean, the question really becomes, like, in terms of that being like dangerous, is it's like, can it get to a point where like the CEO of Twitter is like, hey, I'm a Democrat and I don't like this Republican candidate, even though like he's normal, whatever, so I'm going to take him off my platform and not give him a platform to speak. And let's say like YouTube.
I had always made that point about censorship.
It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, exactly. And then I've never denied that censorship is important. Like, I've never denied that there are things that the general public shouldn't know. Like, especially when we go into like the government and world affairs. I understand why things are classified. Like, I get it. But the question becomes, who gets to decide that? Because if you give that power to just be able to keep information from the general public, right, to anybody, it can be abused. You know what I mean? Like, in a perfect world where like God himself was interacting with people, then it would make sense for God to keep things from people, and he would have the right to do it. But if you're gonna say, the the big tech CEOs and the government can choose, or like not only that, just the big tech CEOs, the government, and the big media studios, that wouldn't run interviews.
Yeah. If
they're gonna have the choice, you can't upload videos of them talking. They can't have their own accounts. No one's gonna interview them. What really gives them the point? And like you said, like at what point does it become like, I don't like what this person is saying, so I'm not gonna let them speak. Like not that this person, what this person is saying is going to damage people, but at what point, and I think personally, in my opinion, we haven't gotten to that yet. I think that it has been warranted for these people to be removed. I think that they were saying damaging things beyond just things that are not favorable.
So you think like Andrew Tate, like he should have been removed? I mean, like I said, I don't really know what he was saying. So to make that judgment, but
I've said a lot that I don't think that it was as damaging as a lot of people were making it up to be. It was a huge thing that they're like, what about young boys watching?
No,
videos,
yeah.
Right?
I mean, I don't know. You just said you don't know much, but about Andrew Tate, whatever. But
I mean, I did know. I've seen a lot of his videos.
I think a lot of these. Oh, okay, so definitely more than me. I was gonna say, it seems like to me, whenever I see him, it seems like he's obviously like playing an act.
Yeah.
Like he's definitely playing a character.
So that was another thing that I know we've talked about when other people have got canceled before. That at a certain point, it doesn't fall on the person publishing the video to be responsible on whether or not other people are taking it seriously. Like, you need to
But at the same time, like, if you're Andrew Tate, right, I'm not really sure the order of things. I'm not sure. I knew, the funny thing about Andrew Tate is, like, I knew him from kickboxing before he blew up on, like, TikTok. I don't know if I told you that, but I don't know who I said that to. But I knew him when he was, like, literally, when he was doing kickboxing. Well, not when he was doing kickboxing. I knew him from kickboxing, that he was, and did, like, influencer stuff. And like to me, like I said, it seems like he's just playing a character, but at the same time, I say this for like a lot of like fighters, if you're going to like play a character that's like a bad guy, then don't be surprised. You can't have it both ways and be like, okay, I'm going to get more popular, but at the same time, I don't want to handle this backlash. I don't think he should have been canceled based on what I see. I don't know what else he's been saying, but if he's gonna get mad at people in his comment section saying that he's a bad influence, that he is a bad guy, or not a good person, then that's your own fault because you chose to do that. Like there's a risk, there's a bad and a good in it. That you are having a lot more views and a lot more success and a lot more money and a lot more traffic is being driven to you, but at the same time, it's like people are going to think that you're a dickhead.
I think there's two separate things. I'll put Andrew Tate aside for a second, and just say like how I was saying, like, you need to know that everything you see on the internet you have to take for a grain of salt. Like even this show, like, we're gonna do our best to research for the show, like, but we could be wrong. Like, you have to take everything that you see with a grain of salt. You have to assume that not everybody's being 100% transparent when you see on the internet too. Andrew Tate, I said put aside for a second because while I think he's playing a character, I think that character is just a dramatized version of himself. Like there's been clips where he said about actually like he got mad at a girlfriend of his and he actually like beat her up like that. I don't think he would say. I don't think is true because first of all, I don't think he would admit to it as crime. I don't think he would just straight up admit to it. But I do think there are things that he says that may be more dramatic for like the popularity part of it, the clickbait part of it, but I think that he does believe them to some degree for him to even say it in the first place. But with him, I said a lot that I didn't think that it was as damaging as people were making it out to be because, people were saying like, oh, young boys watching this video, and I was like, to be honest, like, we were young boys on the internet. Like, you see things and then you grow up and you see how the world really is and you kind of snap out of it. Like, like people following Andrew Tate's words, if they're like 12 now, by the time they're 16,
well, first of all, I just want to say, like, if you're following Andrew Tate's like philosophy in life, you're just a virgin. Like, that's just what you are.
That sounds like something Andrew Tate would say.
There's literally like, you're like a loser. Like, you're probably like the prime.
No, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Actually, if you're following probably anybody's advice on TikTok, you're
that's true as well. Yeah, but I think, like I said, if you were 12 years old and you're following his advice, like let's say his advice on women, by the time you're 16, you're gonna be snapped out of it. You're gonna realize it. But that's not to say
when you lose your virginity.
That's not to say that it's not it's not damaging at all. It's still not pleasant to know that there are people watching, and there are people in the comments agreeing and saying, yeah, you're making a lot of sense. Like, you don't even want people, no matter how young they are, no matter if they'll get over it when they get older,
and
you
like,
don't want people thinking.
Like I said, forgive me, I really don't know. Does his audience, like, know it's a character?
I can't, you can't tell. You really can't tell.
Like, because to me, it seems so obvious.
To me, it seems obvious as well.
That he's obviously playing it up. There's no human being on this earth in 2022 that would think this way.
There are some videos that he seems pretty serious. And that's why I said that.
Well, I've seen videos.
Think that he believes what he's saying to a certain degree.
I've seen videos of him like saying things, then like literally laughing.
Yeah.
This shit is
That's
so
what
stupid.
I'm saying. Yeah, of course. He definitely at a certain point takes it like very far, and then he even shows it by laughing.
It reminds me of like what Trump did in a way when he was like, he would say controversial things on purpose because he knew media would cover it, whatever, this and that, and it would be like basically free advertising. It's the same thing in Andrew Tate. It's like this guy talks about...
Yeah, well, that's definitely why he did it. Well, the thing about Andrew Tate, I don't know if... like you said, you don't know that much
and is he still banned?
Yeah.
Damn.
But I don't know, you say you don't know much about him, but he had this course on how to make money.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
If you bought that, then you are probably an irreversible
Well, here's
virgin.
the thing. Hustlers University, part of it was you had to make an Andrew Tate account, post his clips. It was like a hive mind of everybody getting popular off of everybody. You know what I mean? So, like there was like... I mean, there was more than this, but let's take 100 accounts that were making Andrew Tate videos. They were all getting popular off of each other because one video blows up and then you get recommended more Andrew Tate videos from a different account. So the whole point, not the point of Hustlers University, but a big part of Hustlers University was the fact that this guy was not only getting free advertising for himself, but these accounts were blowing up.
So is it like a scam? Like, kind of like...
I mean, I don't know. I haven't...
It's more of a scheme, I'd say.
Yeah. I haven't looked into it enough to defiantly call it a
Very
scam.
retarded scheme.
You know what I mean? Like, I can't sit here and be like, yeah, it was a scam. You stealing, that's a bold claim. I haven't looked into it enough, but I know that was a part of Hustlers University. That's why there were so many Andrew Tate accounts, and that's why his videos were getting so popular. Was because there would be a bunch of accounts making videos or posting clips of Andrew Tate talking, and because TikTok algorithm is so aggressive, you're gonna get recommended more Andrew Tate accounts, and so they got popular off of each other. So that was like a huge thing that he did. That it wasn't just the things he was saying that got him popular, but it was the fact that he was selling a course saying this is gonna make you a ton of money, and then had all these like slave accounts posting him.
Oh my god!
Which it's just
it
crazy.
seems. I mean, like Donnie said, it's a scheme.
It's definitely
not
a scheme.
scam. Because
I don't know if I would say it's not a scam. I haven't looked into it. I'm not gonna say it's not a scam, but I'm not gonna say it is. But
it's definitely a scheme. And like, kill like. I mean, I would love to meet the people that pay for this. Like like that money could have gone to like charity. Something useful.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He said. Well, he had said about it. He was like, you go to school and learn from people who have never been millionaires how to make money. And he's like, you're not going to pay me, a millionaire, to teach you how to make money. But, like, how in-depth is it really if you think about it? So, yeah.
Well, but back to Kanye, I guess. We're going back to Kanye. I mean, yeah, the guy seems... He seems off his plot.
Yeah, so back to Kanye, it's hard to really say. A lot of people just want to break down and be like, oh, he's going manic again. But this is a little bit different than what he usually does. He's had these episodes and gone on Twitter and posted different emojis and been like, what does this mean, Apple? Like, why is this emoji a thing? You know what I mean? Like, this is not the same thing. I think the best way to put it is exactly how he did himself. He's at war. Like, he is trying to fight so that he can own everything that he creates, which is double-edged in a way where, you want to say, yeah, you should want to own everything that you create, but at the same time, it kind of ties in a little bit to how I said censorship is necessary. Not having control is sometimes necessary as well. When you're creating things so much, you don't want control of everything. Sometimes you want other people to take care of it as well, other people who understand the
That's
industry
why you got
a little
interns.
bit more. I mean, even Shaq, he said he sold close to 50% of his likeness to a company because that's gonna make him what he wanted to be, and I think the best way to put it is that I respect wanting to own everything, the music, the clothing, the anything connected to your name. I respect wanting to own all of that, but clearly the stress that's put on Kanye has driven him.
You gotta acknowledge too, like, people sometimes know better than you.
That's exactly my point. Is that there are people in this industry, even though Kanye's been in a long time as well, who just have been more boots on the ground. He's always been doing a million different things. There are people who have actually just been there only doing that for decades, and you, at a certain point, you have to realize, like I said, the best way I could say is that I respect him for wanting to have control of everything. He says a lot that he wants to leave a lot of this to his kids. He wants to own this huge corporation himself so that he can leave it personally 100% to his children. And so I respect it, but like I said, the pressure that it puts him under has clearly made him very paranoid about the entire corporate world, which is not a healthy way to try and make yourself a force in the corporate world if you're also paranoid that every company or executive or any big person in business that you talk to is just going to hurt you in some way. It's just not a good, and clearly it had just not been working for him that well. So I think that's his biggest issue at the moment, is that he really just has to realize that, like, he owning everything is just a big responsibility, and I don't think there are a lot of people out there that's ready for it. I mean, he does a lot of stuff. He wants to start schools. He wants to completely produce every piece of clothing and everything he makes on a reservation he owns in America. That's, first of all, producing anything in America is already stressful. It's expensive. There's a lot of labor laws. It's hard. And not only that, but he wants to build the compounds to do it himself. He wants to own the property that they produce these things on, and that's hard. And he wants to have a hand in designing them. Yeah. And which is, again, that's difficult. And of course, he still wants to make music, I'm sure. And even starting schools, he has a sports league. Like, that's a lot of stuff that he's doing. And like I said, I respect it, and I respect him for wanting to own it. But it's just, at a certain point, let the professionals be professional.
Of course.
He compared himself actually on the Drink Champs to Steve Jobs. Because he said, I'm more of the visionary, and like, that's okay. Be the visionary. Give them the visions, but you don't have to be in control of everything. Like.
Yeah, of course. Come up with the shoe. Don't build the shoe yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, So I think. I think he's just he's gotten extremely paranoid, and it's turned him against a lot of groups of people, and I think that's forced him to just have different prejudices, and it's just not it's very hard to listen to him these days, because just like I said, to have that platform to say things that are so damaging, it's just, of course,
there's millions of people watching you, and a lot of them are going to be upset. I mean, like I said, I'm not really sure what he said on Twitter, but
he said that was a quote. He pretty much said something along the lines of, "I'm tired right now, but when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on the Jews."
Oh, right.
That's what he said.
Yeah, you can't say that.
Of course.
Yeah, you can't.
And he actually explained the DEFCON 3. He said, DEFCON, it doesn't mean you're launching nuclear bombs. You're protecting yourself from them. So, like I said, it's anti-Semitic in the way that he is perpetuating the stereotype about Jews owning the business side of America, which is, again, like, that's an extremely damaging thing that has been...
Wasn't he trying to release something? Like, trying to have, like, a show in a stadium?
Yeah, he got 4 stadiums canceled from him. I think that was before the tweet, too. I forgot what he did. He got all of his Chase accounts terminated. All of his business Chase accounts are terminated. He has to move to a different bank because he was attacking Chase, blatantly.
Oh my god, that's terrible. What the? I mean, I get, like, okay, yeah, whatever that, but the venues. I mean, come on, like, but I'm sure Kanye can find something, dude. The dude is like.
Well, I think that's the thing, is that he's so paranoid, like I said, against the entire corporate world, that just nobody wants to work with him.
He could probably build an arena in his house.
Well,
just fucking do it there.
Don't say that, because he'll do it.
Kanye.
He'd love to own Kanye Arena, Donda Arena or something.
No. This is definitely something he would do. Like, definitely, if he watched this, he would 100% do this. I'm gonna DM him the idea.
Yeah, too bad he can't.
Hop on the podcast, Kanye, if you're watching. hop on.
Listen, Kanye, we'll sit down and have an honest conversation with you. No one else.
3 hours, 4 hours, however long it takes. No, we need to have him and Bortez.
Kanye, next time you're in New York, man, just come and sit down and talk to us, man. We'll hear you out. But yeah, definitely the things that he's saying are just, they're way too damaging to say if you have a platform as big as he does. It's too crazy, and he was hinting a lot in Drink Champs as well to wanting to run for president again, 2024. And listen, I'll say it. I've never done anything in politics in my entire life, but I'm going to be honest. How you're talking right now is definitely not the way to launch your presidential campaign. I just don't think it's going to help you.
Yeah,
out.
In all seriousness, I can't imagine Kanye winning.
No,
ever.
But I said the same thing about Donald Trump.
That's what I'm saying. Who knows? But I think that's going to conclude this episode. I think today was a really good episode. We went off our talking points because we just had that good of a conversation,
This was a slow week, except for Kanye. Kanye was the biggest thing this week, in my opinion. There wasn't too much going on.
Yeah, there wasn't too much, but we always make it work. Next week is going to be a good one. I think there should be more news, some more
focused anyway, because we'll only have 1 week, 1 week strictly of news.
Thank you guys for watching. Obviously, you can follow me Instagram at Jack Walter, TikTok at Jack Walter with 2 R's. And also in the description will be all of our things. Chiv, what do you want to shout out?
Oh shit, this wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking.
Anyway, obviously it was recording. He was saying the times.
I know. I would kill him.
You can follow me on Instagram, Chiv, MATTCHIV. My channel and my Twitter are linked down in the description. And yeah, just like I said, we're trying to get up to 5 shows a week by the end of the year. And hopefully you guys stick around and subscribe.
Ma, if you watch the whole thing, I love you.
If you watch the whole thing and you're not related to us at all, I love you.
Yeah, then I really love you.